is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
That Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, but he hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him the respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won 1 of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night.
Stephen Smith isn't letting Floyd Mayweather rewrite the moment. After Mayweather tried to brush off Terence Crawford's win over Canelo, Smith stepped in with a hard reality check. He argued that what Crawford just pulled off wasn't ordinary, it was history. Smith reminded everyone that becoming undisputed across multiple divisions is something almost no fighter has ever touched. In his eyes, Crawford didn't stumble into greatness. He earned it, round by round, risk by risk. And no amount of Mayweather's criticism can shrink what was clearly a career-defining achievement that pushed Crawford into rare air among boxing immortals.
Best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his
Jeff Mayweather also weighed in, and his perspective was blunt. This loss will follow Canelo forever. Jeff described Canelo as the unquestioned ruler of that weight class, a champion who had built his kingdom on dominance. But then Crawford walked into that kingdom, moved up in weight, and took everything from him. For Jeff, that's not a minor setback, that's a permanent scar on Canelo's legacy. Champions are remembered by the nights that define them, and unfortunately for Canelo, this night may end up being the one people never forget.
Either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. And Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as.
Stephen Smith was practically stunned by what he witnessed. He said being there in person made the moment even heavier because he realized he was watching something that may never happen again. According to Smith, boxing has never seen a fighter climb the way Crawford did and then dismantle a dominant champion like Canelo so convincingly. He called it more than a victory, he called it a shift in the sport's definition of greatness. This wasn't just another title fight. It was the kind of night that gets etched into boxing history forever.
This was Terence Bud Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence Bud Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the W.
Duke McKenzie couldn't hide his disbelief. He said Canelo looked completely lost, with no answers for Crawford's speed, pressure, and accuracy. McKenzie called it one of the most complete performances modern boxing has seen. Crawford didn't just win belts. He made himself look untouchable against one of the toughest opponents imaginable. The standard he set that night, McKenzie believes, may be one that very few fighters will ever reach again.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win round.
Andre Ward placed the victory where it belongs, in the category of generational moments. Ward said fights like this are what define boxing history, the kind fans will talk about decades from now. What impressed him most was Crawford's discipline, how calm, sharp, and intelligent he stayed from start to finish. Ward called it the type of performance that pushes a fighter beyond greatness and into timeless legend status. By dismantling Canelo in that fashion, Crawford didn't just win a fight, he carved out a permanent place among the sport's elite.
Better get Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I gotta give it to him, Bud. The best, but he hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of gotta give him his respect, no matter what. You gotta give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You gotta respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you want it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Makrimov or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Yeah, Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things it's opinionated situation with the Styles make fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing. Styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Yeah,
well,
different eras. Different. It's a lot of things. You can't really.
Roy Jones Jr. offered a more nuanced breakdown, pointing out a key difference between Crawford's win and Floyd's win over Canelo years ago. Roy explained that Mayweather faced a younger, less developed version of Canelo. Talented, yes, but not fully formed. Crawford, however, fought the seasoned, prime version, the one who had spent years ruling his division. And despite being the smaller man, Crawford still tore him apart. For Roy, that context makes Crawford's accomplishment even more staggering.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to find it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights would have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them.
Crawford's trainer made one thing crystal clear afterward. Terrence has nothing left to prove. In his mind, the debate should already be over. Yet somehow, critics still hesitate to give Crawford full respect, which only adds to the frustration. His trainer emphasized that Crawford isn't chasing validation anymore. He's already built a legacy that speaks louder than any narrative. After breaking down one of the biggest names in boxing, the idea that he still needs to show more is, to them, absurd.
Terrence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, 2-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old 2-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former 2-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who is 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach, and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up, and he never accepted the fight. And so, with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terrence Crawford. And they're saying that Terrence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview, and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terrence Crawford is ducking and Terrence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
trainer Robert Garcia delivered one of the boldest takes of all, suggesting Crawford surpassed Mayweather in this specific achievement. Garcia pointed out that Crawford didn't squeak by. He dominated, winning nearly every round with authority. He stressed that Floyd never attempted a challenge this dangerous, moving up and dismantling a larger champion in his prime. For Garcia, greatness isn't only about undefeated records or business success. It's about daring to take the biggest risks and still coming out on top. That's what separates icons from legends.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
You think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably be Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. didn't hesitate either. He said what Crawford did to Canelo was far more punishing than anything Mayweather ever delivered. Canelo wasn't simply outpointed, he was broken down piece by piece. For years, Canelo carried the aura of an untouchable ruler at super middleweight, overwhelming opponents with pressure and power. But in one night, Crawford erased that aura completely. The shocking part wasn't just that Crawford won. It was how effortlessly he made a dominant champion look helpless, searching for answers that never arrived.
Beat 3 Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Canelo, from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. And he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So, what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned and I'll see you next time.